Hey YouTube, Awesome Writer here. Welcome to my review for the Sentai Encyclopedia Definitive Edition. This is effectively, let's be honest, it's a picture book. It's like a little magazine picture book. It's kind of a compilation of the things you would see in scans for the series, but I really dig things like this. It reminds me a lot of this old 30th anniversary encyclopedia, which is, you can see the similarities, like in the style, like in the way that the art is presented in this collage on the front, but it is different. Like the inside of this has a lot thicker, more professional pages. You can see it's an overall thicker book as well. This one has like paper pages. It feels a lot cheaper, but it's very similar in vein, and it kind of reminded me on a nostalgia level. I mentioned in my Robo History reviews that it was nostalgic because I remembered finding that book in an anime shop, and in the case of this, I found it on my first trip to California for Morphicon 1 at Anime Jungle, and that was like really exciting because it's like full with Toku stuff, and you're not used to seeing that. Not to mention I wanted that book, but why do you guys care about that? The reason I bring it up is just, that's the reason I bought this book. It was right after an anniversary. It seemed like the right time to get a sort of update on that, and I really dug it. Like, I just like the style of it, the collage of all the Rangers on the front. It does have a jacket you can see, but when you pull it off, I don't know if you can tell from here, but it's the same exact art. It's not like the Sentai Encyclopedia where it's different art. But you go in here, and you just see a bunch of pretty pictures of Rangers, and that's why I like it. It goes over a history of all the Rangers. You get kind of a profile of everybody, of the mecha, and the villains you might face, of some side characters, and I just really dig that. It goes over every series right up until present, which as of this recording is DonBrothers, early days DonBrothers. So if you're from the future, we could be way past DonBrothers or just into more stuff. Look at this shot. That's just a weird, that's a shot. But you got all your pre-Ju Sentai teams there. And then we head into the Zyuranger era. Some Gokaiger here, Goranger. And then once we get into, like, it shows off the mecha. Once we get into ones that have more alternate formations, it actually does show off, like, all the possible formations, which is really cool. Like, I think once we get to Goranger and Hurricaneger, it shows, like, oh, hey, here's all the different armaments. Or, like, right here, Avataro, perfect. It shows you, like, all the different arm combinations and stuff like that, which is really neat. See, it's basically like, oh, you could see the scans, like, oh, well, Zord and him are gonna fight. New spoilers for this month. And then this is like roughly around where my other one cut off because it was the 30th anniversary. I think they started with Gokaiger. I think the last little pages of that have Gokaiger in it. But this is where we're entering quote-unquote new territory, which is cool. So you got Goranger, Zyuranger, there's Gosager. I like how right when I say Zyuranger, it turns to the Gosager page. Highlights the anniversary aspect for Gokaiger. Highlights some of the different formations you get there, even some of the obscure ones. I think this one was from the Gavin crossover, if I recall. That's something I dig too. It's kind of like a mini encyclopedia. This one, compared to the Sentai Encyclopedia, which I'll show a quick comparison here in a second, is much more of a picture book. Like, it's much bigger pictures, again, much more in vein of what you'll see in the magazines, like much bigger, clearer, in-show pictures. And it's kind of, like, obviously there's a bunch of text here and stuff you can read. I can't read Japanese, but it's kind of much more designed to be like, oh, hey, let's go over and look at all the past suit designs, which I think is a lot of fun, and all the different formations, and you can see all the different variants in Kyuranger. And I think there was one in here, I think, did I pass it by, where they showed, like, all the different forms. Oh, it's right here. I'm an idiot. Right here, like, all the different forms of the, like, the little mini armaments they had, and, like, the evil variant for Silver, which is kind of cool. And you can see all the different variant arm combinations for the Goranger mecha there, which is cool. Heading into Ryusoldier there. We're in the end game now. Kara Major, and then the most recent ones here, you got Gokaiger. And then we end off here on some DonBrothers, and it shows off Gokaiger Black and the little mini altars, which when they were first announced, I did not know were going to be tiny. And that's where it ends off. And it's kind of like an update of that. You can see, again, it's a similar style to this, where you, like, if this one's a little bit more comprehensive, it kind of more shows off some profile shots. It's kind of, this one's kind of more like, I feel like a combination of like magazine scans and exact profile shots, whereas this is much more of a compilation of what you get in like the scans. But this was like the Sentai Encyclopedia, which is much more encyclopedia-like. Again, I can't read Japanese, so I'm sitting here looking at the pictures for this too. But this is a little bit more bookish, I guess you could say, so it just depends on your style. This is going to be a lot more comprehensive. This one ends off right at Gokaiger, because if I recall, this came out when Gokaiger started, whereas this is coming out when DonBrothers is starting. So, not that I'm saying these are comparable releases, but it's just interesting to look at the different styles. Like, I think this is really a neat book to have, but there's just something about this style of book that takes me back to finding that other book and kind of the nostalgia of my early Sentai fandom, so I thought it was really cool to pick up. So just kind of a weird recommendation. I wouldn't say it's a must-have or anything, everything. Like, I kind of highly recommended the Sentai Robo books if you like them. And I wouldn't highly recommend this. I would just say that if you're a person like me and you're into that type of thing, or you like that old 30th anniversary encyclopedia, it might be a fun release for you to pick up. But if you're looking for something a little bit more quote-unquote professional, and you don't mind it not having DonBrothers, this was also a really cool book. And obviously you're going to get a lot more use out of it if you actually can read Japanese. But that's about it for this one though, guys. Until next time, don't forget, like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps and ring that bell. Just notifications for my videos. Dawson Ryder, signing out.